Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
6 minutes after 4 o'clock, 4:06 on the 11th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Happy Friday. We're just having fun today. We have two special guests. We have a father and son. The son is the primary guest today, Jeff Packard. He has a WordPress blog at shameless.wordpress.com. And shameless is spelled S-H-A-I-M. Jeff has Aspergers, and he wanted to come in today. He's 19 years old, almost 20. He wanted to come in today. In fact, you'll be 20 on Easter Friday, Good Friday, right?
I guess. I never actually bothered to check the calendar this year so far, but
yeah, I think it'd be 2 weeks from today, right? All right. And we have another guest that was kind of unexpected. We came into the studio today, and you know what? I'm going to get my man card taken away for this. I am, aren't I? I cannot kill anything. I cannot. The only thing I can kill is a spider or a snake. Snakes especially. I go like lady
large pizza,
lady on a chair screaming on you when I see a snake. Just can't do it. But most other creatures I just love. And today we have Nancy the ladybug in the studio. And if you are my Facebook friend, thanks to my that's a great phone
camera.
Thank you. Because can you see that? I mean, it's detailed. You can see her little eyes and.
Oh, you took a picture also?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're just having fun with her. We've learned a lot about her. I just gave her a peanut, and so far she's just looking at it. Do you know if they eat peanuts?
I don't think so.
Okay. And Jeff told us that he used to be into bugs. Entomology, would that be correct?
that is correct, yes.
And that ladybugs have the different coloring on them to scare away predators. They are not poisonous, but they fart. And
What?
They put off an odor that sends a message to their predators to not mess with them. And
they taste bad.
Here's how I want somebody. How does somebody know that? How do you know whether a ladybug tastes bad?
It just says it here in Wikipedia, and they don't lie.
Wikipedia is true. You can't.
But how?
So that means somebody's been chewing on one.
Oh man!
And they said, "Oh, this tastes bad."
All right. So
not a shocker though. I don't think that I would be shocked by that.
If they tasted good?
If they tasted at all, really. I don't imagine they would just be kind of like starchy.
Well, with your cold, you probably couldn't.
Starchy would be the word. You know,
with your cold, you couldn't even taste them. It was a good thing you didn't eat her.
Yeah, we wouldn't know. It wouldn't be a very good scientific test.
Bob?
Actually, I just don't have a cold. I'm just losing my voice.
Oh, so you still have your taste buds?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, here, try a peanut, and if you taste the peanut, then you can taste the ladybug.
Yes.
All right.
But no.
Brian Packard is Jeff's dad. Brian, nice to have you here.
Thank you, Mac.
And Jeff, you enjoy sharing your symptoms of Aspergers with people because you want people to understand Aspergers better. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there.
Okay. So let's start. And by the way, if you're listening, thank you for listening. This is Mac's World. I'm J. Michael McCoy. This is 99.3 The Truth. We're on every day from 3 to 5. If you know somebody who has Asperger's or is interested in it, call them quick. Tell them to listen. You're welcome to call in and ask questions or make comments or share your Asperger's story. 515-244-0077. So let's start out, Well, I guess I want to talk to Jeff, and if you need to jump in, you're always welcome. Get a little closer to the microphone for me, if you would, Jeff. What is Asperger's?
Asperger's is, as of the most recent issue of the great big manual of psychological disorders, technically just higher functioning autism. So it is autism, but with less severe symptoms. And what it is usually characterized by is the most common, most visible symptom is a severe lack of social skills. Usually, I'm having trouble trying to remember the symptoms of Asperger's off the top of my head. However, that is one trait that if you see somebody identified as being autistic or being an Aspie, that is the number one trait that is going to identify them as such.
They have challenges in social environments.
Yes.
Now you're doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in here for 45 minutes. You seem to be doing great. Are you nervous? Are you uncomfortable being around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people and a ladybug?
Yes, actually.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. It's not entirely your fault.
Not entirely.
It's at least 1/6 your fault. If my math is
more
right.
accurately, at most 1/6.
Oh,
But
there you go. Yeah.
The thing about that is that I believe I don't have a whole heck of a lot of evidence to support this, but I believe that I am in turn, like with Asperger's being higher functioning autism, I believe that I am higher functioning Asperger's than most. The symptoms are not as readily apparent.
So you're autistic and you're higher functioning autistic. So then you'd call yourself Asperger's. And you believe that in this range of Asperger's, you're at the higher end of that functioning category.
Yes, that's correct. I don't mean to put on airs by suggesting.
No, I don't hear that. No, I don't hear that at all. I appreciate your honesty. What would be a low functioning autistic person?
Well, have you seen the movie Rain Man?
Yes.
Rain Man.
That would be a low functioning.
Yes, I think it was stated specifically in the movie that he had autism. I believe the term used at the time was autistic savant.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but yes, he is a low functioning individual.
Well,
Now-
and Mac, just to clarify, I think primarily it's because of the communication aspect of things. If you notice, Jeffrey can communicate very strongly and has the ability
They
to.
better roll off.
Whereas if you look at, like he said, made reference to the movie, the ability to communicate was there, but it was more limited.
Yeah. You're not like Rain Man at all.
Thank you, I think.
Well, no, but in your communication
Great
skills,
response.
we're sitting here having a conversation. I don't think that was possible with the character in Rain Man. Now, when you saw that movie for the first time, did that open up any doors? Did that turn on any lights? Did that make sense in any certain way to you?
From the perspective of having Asperger's myself, not particularly.
Okay.
If I recall, I don't even know that I knew I had Asperger's at the time. This may have been actually before I was diagnosed.
All right. Brian, before he was diagnosed, did you and your bride have a sense that Jeffrey was functioning differently?
Oh yeah, definitely, Mac. We saw things really, and to be honest, he wasn't diagnosed until he was 16 officially with Asperger's.
Okay.
And so we went through a lot of challenges. Nowadays, hopefully for people, they're noticing it a lot earlier than we did. His original diagnosis at the age of 5 really kind of came out of when he was in school. That's when things really started to show up. And the diagnosis was ADHD. We went back at the age of 12 and the diagnosis was still ADHD. My suspicion was Asperger's. But then finally got to 16. And so it created some more challenges, definitely, to do that.
All right. So, Jeffrey, how did you find out that you had Asperger's?
Well, we had gone through a whole different procession of therapists and psychiatrists and the like. So we were on I don't know what number exactly, and it's probably irrelevant anyway, but we attended a meeting with a local psychiatrist we'd been seeing for a few weeks, and he stated his belief that I had Asperger's. He couldn't diagnose me. He wasn't qualified or something to diagnose me, so he had me then tested by his immediate superior, and he confirmed that, yes, I do have Asperger's, so that was when I was officially diagnosed with it.
Is it biological or just emotional? In other words, can they take a brain scan, excuse me, or a blood sample or a scan, something that can say, oh, yeah, here it is?
I confess I do not know.
I could interject there that I think for us, a lot of it was the emotion. That's what we saw. But I think really within the last, it's such a fast-moving area of study that I think there is more biological. Maybe people out there know more than I do, but I know brain scans is something that are being used. I know that even environmental, lots of things that they're looking at as to why, because the numbers are going up at a very quick pace.
All right, we're coming up on a break here, and I want to take a break, and I want to put that invitation out to you, the listener, again. I'm very blessed to sit here before you, Jeffrey, and to be able to ask questions like this. That's wonderful. There may be somebody at home who's got a 5-year-old kid, and they're wondering, or they've got a 5-year-old grandson, and they're wondering. You are free to ask questions. Jeff is being great. Brian's being great. 515-244-0077. Call. We'll get you on the air. If you don't want to use your real name, you don't have to. Or you can text, and there's no voice at all. And that's at 515-809-0993. That's on the Service Legends Truth text line. We're talking about autism, kind of peeling the layers back today live with Jeffrey Packard as we continue here on The Truth. 993thetruth.com.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
4:21, 21 minutes after 4, 11th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy, Mac's World Live. If you're a button pusher and you're floating around and you go, whoa, wait a minute, Mac, as in J. Michael McCoy? Yep. Mac's World, like the old show on 98? Yep. Like with Bradshaw, that crazy guy that was a steaming liberal? Yep, except I've exchanged a far left liberal for a far right wacko, Frank the Verse, but Frank's not here today. So we're having some fun today. We have a new pet in the studio, a ladybug named Nancy. What do you mean, how do I know her name is Nancy? She told me. She showed me your social security card. Silly people. You got to have a social security card. Also, we are, and by the way, I put her profile picture. I should start a Facebook page for her. Anyway, I put her on my Facebook page if you'd like to say hello to Nancy. And I think that it's no coincidence that today, on the day we laid one of the greatest first ladies to into her sleep forever with Ronnie, we lay her in her grave, that this ladybug that shows up is named Nancy. Now, I don't believe in reincarnation, but if that would be possible, we perhaps have Nancy Davis Reagan, right in front of us here, who came back and, because I'm a radio guy and Ronnie was a radio guy, and I mean, it makes all the sense in the world to me, right? All right. The real special guest today is Jeffrey Packard. Jeffrey is 2 weeks shy of 20, and he has a high-functioning form of autism called Aspergers. In fact, he has a high-functioning form of Aspergers. And he agreed today to come in and just share with us some of the things about Aspergers, and allowed the phone lines to be open if you want to call in and ask any questions. All right, so from your world, I always thought this was an interesting question. If you have no taste buds, how do you explain to somebody what an orange tastes like? Or if you're blind, how do you explain to somebody what the color orange looks like? So, from your standpoint, because I think you're normal as heck, but I would imagine if I sat down with you long enough and spent time with you, I would begin to see different characteristics that would tell me that you're functioning at a different level than I am. Do you see that? Do you compare yourself to another 19-year-old and say, "Oh yeah, he doesn't act or react or think like that. That's what means I have Asperger's"?
Well, that's an interesting question for me to try to answer, because I already, like, in the form of social groupings, I already self-identify basically as a nerd. So I'm of the type of person who goes, "Oh, football? Oh, like, I don't even know what our local team is. Is that the Bears?"
Nebraska Cornhuskers.
What's a Cornhusker?
I'm just telling you. Just go ahead.
No, my dad told me to say that. Anyway.
Well, thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
So from that standpoint, I'm already operating significantly differently from what cultural mainstream is. However, in terms my headphones go out.
No, you're fine.
You're
okay,
good.
well, there they go. All right. In terms of comparing myself to other people, it's a bit of a toss up there, because you have something to say?
I'd be willing to interject then, just in terms of some of the things that I see, and Mac, I'm actually seeing one of those traits in you right now, just to kind of help you out here in terms of hyper focusing. One of the things that Jeffrey will do is hyper focus on a particular subject, and he will absorb it, digest it, devour it. He has a voracious reading habit that he, one of his grandmothers would always buy him books on a certain subject, and he would just devour it. And he reads right now at about 200 pages an hour.
Oh my gosh.
He will absorb a good chunk of that. And as you can tell, be able to recant it back to you in a lot of ways. His rote memory is really strong. But hyper-focus is a matter of like what you're doing with the ladybug, for example, with Nancy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Bringing it back up, going back to it, wanting to learn more about it, being able to learn, and all of those types of things. That's one thing that definitely kind of sets him apart. And sometimes when he'll talk, my eyes will just glaze over because after a while he's just gone beyond where I can go.
Well, I believe God's in everything, and there are no coincidences. But if you want to see God right here, right now, Nancy shows up. I didn't even have to see her. She was running around. Was she running around on the table, right, Bob? And then I picked her up and put her on the microphone thing so Chris would maybe come over and breathe in. But anyway, then he'd see her. Then he dropped her 500 feet onto her little itty-bitty head. And I wanted to know about ladybugs, and in comes you, Jeffrey, and you rattled off what you knew about ladybugs from 10 years ago when you were into when you were into bugs, and I just think that's amazing. And that's what it is, right? That's definitely one of the things. Absolutely. And anything you've ever studied, I could just ask you a question about that, and you could tell me. Like and we haven't planned this, right, guys? I'm going to say aircraft carriers.
What about aircraft carriers?
What do you know about them?
Not a whole lot. I know that aircraft carrier groups are currently the single most powerful entities afloat, that things on the surface do not exist within a certain radius of an aircraft carrier without the carrier's express permission.
But what about more facts? That's opinion. So why don't you talk facts a little bit?
Well, I don't know the statistics about aircraft carriers is the thing.
Well, you've already blown me away with just the first two things you said. Okay, cool. All right. Now, do you, and I'm not going to offend you. I don't mean to offend you if I say something, okay? Here, give him some here. Just throw that at me if I offend you.
I will actually throw it is the thing.
That's okay. That's all right. It has no sharp edge.
That's one of the other things is very, very, very literal. I mean, so
give that back to me, Jeff. Yeah. I was kidding.
I'm not saying he could hit you, but he would throw it.
But with my luck, take out my right eye or something. Are you say that one of your challenges socially? All right. So do you have male to female emotions with women?
Yes. Okay.
So you have you fallen in love yet?
With a woman? No.
Okay. But that's something that interests you.
Yes.
Okay. Where is your spirituality? How are you and God doing?
Easier to say.
Well, I recently started attending a men's only group at my local church with my dad.
Okay.
Which is at like 6 in the morning or some other ridiculously early hour. And
that's when we meet.
Which I've been thoroughly enjoying and learning quite a bit from, despite having only been to 2 sessions.
What church is this at?
This is at Cornerstone Church in Ames.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
And so I've also been meaning more to actually attend church. I haven't attended Sunday morning church in quite some time because as a quote unquote day job, I work at a local pizza place, and I have done for some time. I switched pizza places, but I haven't switched jobs per se. And usually I end up working fairly late on Saturday evenings. And in order to maintain sort of mental acuity through that Saturday evening work shift, I've ingested copious amounts of caffeine, probably enough caffeine to run a car off of. And as such, I then don't get to sleep until 2 Sunday morning and then sleep pretty much straight till noon. And then I'm like, well, I've missed all of my church sermons. So.
All right.
Well, and that's one thing there, Mac, is sensory processing. One of his challenges is with that's becoming one of the latest is with autism and with Aspergers. And so you're in we're blessed to go to a large church, but it also is not very sensory friendly. And that's been a challenge for Jeffrey.
Light, sound, bump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People, it can come and think of all the senses, and then throw in crowds and some of those things. And it's not that our church is bad; it's a fantastic church. And then the other thing is I'll never forget you mentioned where are you with girls, or where and that's obviously a question that a dad hopefully is asking every one of their children. And within the last three years, I would say, I asked Jeffrey that question, and he says, well, Dad, I do like girls. So it was like very blunt, very literal, but I'm not, he's not. And the other thing is, he is very much so, I think he told me probably about the age of 12, when a young man, probably college age, was working with him, impressed upon him through the message that he was receiving, that he goes, Dad, I know that God's put only one girl, one woman out there for me. And I mean, as a father, I'm just rejoicing hearing that.
Yeah. All right. Our guests today are, you just heard Brian's voice. That's the dad. The son is Jeffrey Packard. So Brian and Jeffrey Packard, 19 years old, going to be 20 here 2 weeks from today, suffers from autism, a high end of autism, which is called Aspergers. In fact, it's probably the high end of Aspergers. And you're welcome to call in and ask any questions, 515-244-0077. I will also post this show on my Facebook sometime early evening or tomorrow morning, and you can share it with people who have other people and their family members. Jeffrey, do you think there's any credence to the fact that there are some people out there who feel that our immunization shots over the years have caused or contribute to autism?
Everything that I have read on the subject suggests otherwise, that vaccination does not have anything to do really with autism.
So where do you feel from your investigations autism comes from?
Well, this goes back into a deeper debate in psychology as a whole. I apologize if I'm going to throw out some more technical knowledge here. I took advanced placement psychology in high school, but what it comes down to is this constant debate of nature versus nurture. Essentially, whether things like autism develop from your genetics, as in, are they hard-coded into you? Are you always going to have this no matter what circumstance you grow up in? Versus nurture, do the circumstances around you shape your psychological profile? And honestly, I'm going to say it's a combination of both. I don't mean for that to come across as a cop-out, but really what it comes down to is people are fundamentally different in the way they react to the same situations. And at the same time, those situations do have a definite effect on us and our development.
All right, good. Next question for Jeffrey Packard, 19 years old. By the way, he's got a blog, shameless.wordpress.com, and shameless is spelled SHAIMLESS. I'm sorry, Nancy, I got to move your pad for just a second. SHAIMLESS.wordpress.com. You're massively intelligent. Why are you working at a pizza place? Why aren't you at an ISU lab or something?
Well, that's a bit of a complicated question, and what that comes down to is me and the school system. Shall we say we had a number of disagreements?
Okay.
But so I'm trying to think of how to word this exactly. The school system.
Tell you what, we're going to take a break.
Okay, that's fine.
And guys, I don't want to talk about this when the mics are off. I want you just to think about this. Maybe you can take a walk to the water fountain or the restroom, or you can sit by yourself. I don't care. I just don't want us to influence you, because I'm interested in that question. Because I would think, man, if I needed a research partner, I'm a journalist. I'd kill to have somebody like you. Here, check this out. Like they do on, here, check this out. And Jeffrey'd go do it. All right, we're going to talk to Jeffrey more. Thanks for listening. Coming back.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed raters free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed right or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
.438, 22 minutes before the top of the hour, 11th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. J. Michael McCoy. Live here in Mac's World. Nothing big going on today, except Ben Carson decided to endorse Donald Trump. Did you know that the Balkan pipeline passed the Iowa House and the Iowa Senate?
I did hear that, yes.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And according to a Des Moines Register poll of 800 and some people, which I don't think is enough in the poll, but it's expensive to poll, so it's the best we get, 56% of Iowans think the Death with Dignity bill is something that we need restated into the legislature and then passed. And it is possible for a bill that did not make the funnel to come back and be reintroduced. But it has to be guaranteed to be approved. They're not going to reintroduce a bill for a fight. In other words, they're not just going to put a bill in so they can fight about something because they've only got so many days. The last bill that did that in the state of Iowa was raising the drinking age. So it's been 1975, 78, something like that, when they went from 18 to 21. So it can happen, but we'll see if that happens. Today, a great guest. Very blessed to have Jeffrey Packard here. His dad, Brian, is also here. Jeff has a blog at shameless.wordpress.com, and shameless is SHAIMLESS. Jeffrey suffers from from autism, and then he's on the high scale of autism, which is called Aspergers, and he believes he's also at the high end of Aspergers, which means he's very functioning, very intelligent. I sit and look at somebody like you, Jeffrey, and I want you on my staff. I'm going to come to you and say, hey, there was a fire over at Grandma's place. Check out and see what happened. And I have a feeling you'd come back with a reporter's notebook full of all the facts and the details, and we'd have the best story in town. But in fact, you deliver pizza because it's difficult. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but you have a difficult time getting along with authority. Is that a right thing to say? I mean, you're pretty smart. I mean, I would imagine you don't work for. I don't want to get him in trouble, but my guess is you're smarter than the guy you work for. And don't say anything.
I was going to say I can neither confirm nor deny this statement at this time.
So why aren't you working at an ISU research lab? I mean, you're that kind of geek.
Well, that's a bit complicated. What it comes down to is there's just most public school systems, and I imagine most school systems in general, are not really equipped to deal with someone on the autistic spectrum. And for a variety of reasons.
Okay, so what are you going to do?
Well, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What would be one of those reasons? What would be a challenge that they might have, Jeff?
Well, for starters, autism at its core, from everything I've read, is a sensory issue. It is caused by sensory hypersensitivity. Sensory hypersensitivity is a bit redundant, but regardless. So what it is I went to a particularly large high school. And at that high school, there were, I don't even know, how many students, Dad, do you think?
1,400 in your class, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or 1,400, excuse me, in the whole school, but still a 4A school.
Yeah.
So fairly big school. And as such, like, you have 5 minutes between every period to get to your next class. And that was not exactly a fun time for me, because there is one student for every, 3 feet of empty air, and it was just terrible. I cannot count the number of times I also had somebody stop in front of me, right in front of me, in the middle of traffic, so to speak, just so they could talk to somebody they saw going the other way, which is why I never used my locker. I had a massive duffel bag filled with all my textbooks, so I was just like, okay, I'm just going to give you a light bump. Can we move a little bit, please? But it was loud. There were people everywhere, and it was just, I had to put in my headphones, I had to play music, and I had to get from point A to point B as fast as possible, and then just sort of sit and relax and go, okay, I made it through this. And that was only one of the issues.
How about, Brian, or both of you, but how about teachers? Was there, do the teachers have an endless amount of patience for you? Is there no such thing?
Not even slightly.
Okay.
I mean, it varies from teacher to teacher across an extremely broad spectrum, of course, but there were a number of teachers that just did not get along with me, and that, in turn, that I repeatedly butted heads with. So I'm sure my dad has more of the specific details.
Well, I would say that, it's hard for the teachers, first of all, to understand that. I mean, if it's hard for his father and mother, who we should know him better than anybody, and I believe we do, other than God, of course, but if it's hard for us to understand him, if it's hard for us to sit there and go, he is so intelligent, why can't he? And then fill in the blank. And that's where that sensory scenario comes in. I've asked him before, Mac, I said, how long does it take you after passing between one class to the next to quote unquote come down? Because a lot of it's about anxiety. Yeah. You may not see the anxiety, but it's there.
Okay.
And you're talking 40, 45-minute class, and we agreed, 10, 15 minutes that it took you to kind of deprogram, or decompress, I guess, best word.
Yeah, basically. So around a fourth to a third of the class period, depending on the day, the class, and what might otherwise be going on, is spent just sort of in almost mini post-traumatic stress disorder mode.
Or I would say ongoing traumatic stress disorder.
Okay. Now, did you graduate from high school?
I did.
Do you have a desire to go to college?
I am in college right now.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And what are you taking?
I am studying criminal justice with an emphasis on electronic crime at the Des Moines Area Community College.
See, now that sounds awesome.
It's a perfect thing for Jeffrey. It really is. Okay. Computers, so dealing with computers versus dealing with people.
Yeah.
That's very technical. That's one of the challenges over the years, though, Mac, and how this works in mysterious ways. And God's plan is awesome, because one of our biggest fights over the years was always about how much time he was on the computer. He would rather escape, and alcoholism or drug abuse is an escape.
Yeah.
Well, so can computers be, or so can shopping, so can whatever. And that was his escape, but it was a place where he felt most comfortable, and it took me a long time to understand that.
Jeffrey Packard is our guest. You just heard from his father, Brian Packard. Jeffrey is on the upper end of Aspergers, which is on the upper end of autism. He has a blog that you can read about him at shameless.wordpress.com, but shameless is spelled SHAIMLESS. So you're going to college and you're studying something that you're passionate about.
Yes.
I mean, you like this.
Yeah.
Are you finding college different than high school?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I actually on my blog, I recently posted something that had to do sort of with one of the topics pertaining to this. But in general, I would say college is vastly more agreeable than high school is.
Were you bullied?
It's a bit of a difficult question. My school career
You keep telling me that my questions are difficult. It's your answers that are difficult.
Well,
Jeff.
yeah, that is probably more accurate.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to tell you. I don't want to throw anything at you, but
bit of a difficult question to answer, shall we say?
Okay.
But my school career is long, detailed, and looks more like a jigsaw puzzle than anything vaguely resembling a timeline. But long story short, I was bullied right up until about halfway through 6th grade.
That when you got your permit to carry?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was when I was taken out of school and into homeschool, and then came back to from homeschool to the public school system about midway through 8th grade, and never got any sort of bullying from anyone. I think they might have remembered me as this is that guy who went totally ballistic whenever we poked him with a stick in 6th grade. Let's stay away from him.
So does that mean
I don't know,
physically and emotionally flip out?
There is certainly that. I mean, they call it a meltdown, autistic meltdown.
If you remember Rain Man.
Right.
You know.
I mean, and there are certain coping skills that autistic, depending, what they are. And once again, that can go back to the sensory. I mean, it's a very, very long, drawn out. But Jeffrey definitely we've had issues where I believe it was somebody teasing him and he let him have it. So it's a challenge.
All right, music's on. We're coming back. Last break. 244-0077 if you've got questions or stories about your experience with autism or Asperger's. We'd love to hear from you. Live here on The Truth, 99.3.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcastonelive.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 10 minutes before 4 o'clock. 10 minutes before 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, 1-888 Ask Hank. Hank, the Bible Answer Man. He is live, coast to coast, globe to globe, around the world. Even the Martians listen to Hank. And you can get him at, again, 1-888 Ask Hank. Thank you.
And don't forget about the clocks this weekend.
Oh, yeah, we fall back. No, we spring ahead. Spring ahead. So you lose an hour of sleep starting at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. And so don't be the guy that comes walking into church and goes, I gotta play so early. And you always see the people that do that. They walk in like, oh, you guys are already meeting. Oh, what happened? Well, you didn't spring ahead. Also, we've had several special guests today. Two of them are Brian and Jeffrey Packard. Jeffrey is autistic, and he is on the upper end of autism. In fact, he's on the upper end of Aspergers, which is at the upper end of autism. And so he's been sharing with us today what that's like. The other guest is Nancy the Ladybug. No, I'm not crazy. I heard you say that. You can see her picture on my Facebook page, but she is so cute. So what are we going to do with her over the weekend? Are we just going to, should we take her out?
We'll find. We've got something for her.
She's so cute.
Yeah, we can rock, paper, scissors for who takes her home.
Well, I said you should eat her, but don't chew her, just swallow her.
I'd take her home, but my cat, he'd eat her.
Ooh, we don't want that.
No.
Same here.
All right, Jeffrey, you wrote a blog post that folks can find at shameless.wordpress.com, and that shameless is SHAIM, and it's called Autism and Violence.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So what that was I believe that took place shortly after the shooting at Umpqua Community College in Oregon. This past, was it October? I think it was October. And so I had read a few things on the subject. It happened while I was in a class, a criminal justice class. So we essentially suspended class operations to watch the news cover that. And a few days later, I was reading something that was speculating that the shooter may have had Aspergers or autism or a similar diagnosis of some variety of mental illness. And I felt like, this seems like the kind of thing I should address on my blog. My blog is about autism and how it relates to everything. It's the motto is that we're trying to increase understanding and decrease frustration. And as such, I believe it was actually confirmed that the shooter suffered from Asperger's a little while after the blog post. But I addressed in the blog post that shooting up colleges or schools of any variety or anything at all really is not symptomatic of Asperger's. If you meet someone and they have Asperger's or autism or any one of these mental illnesses, they are not likely to pick up a gun and start shooting people. In fact, in one of my other criminal justice classes we covered, we learned that the mentally ill are vastly more likely to be victimized in some sort of violent crime than they are to be the perpetrators.
Yeah. By the way, I talk about this a little bit publicly, but not a lot, but I want to share it with you. I suffer from something called borderline personality disorder. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not particularly familiar with it. However, I've heard of it.
Okay, well, you can go home and research it. And it's only through the grace of God, a relationship with Jesus Christ, and a really incredible psychiatrist that I am functioning now as I like to tell people that Jesus taught me how to put my big boy pants on. Because borderline people have a tendency of being very childish when they lose their emotion, when the anxiety gets too high, etc. So I relate to you. I'm not you by any means. I don't know what you go through, but I do know that a world sometimes will look at me differently. And because they don't understand, they look at me with fear. And I honor you that you've got a blog out there and you're putting yourself out there as an autistic Asperger's person, so they get firsthand knowledge of what you go through. That's really cool. I'm really honor you for that. That's awesome.
Thank you. That means a lot to me to hear that.
Okay, well, and I really mean that, because I just thought I was a messed up dude, and I imagine there was a time when you just thought you were a messed up dude, and I just thought I was a messed up dude for about 48 years. And when finally somebody could put a label on it, or a diagnosis, whatever you want to call it, and then I could go read about it, so it wasn't just my wife or my kids or my friends or my family or the people I work with thinking, man, you kind of get out of hand sometimes. You're a little weird. One friend of mine who I always have loved said, Mac, you just go too far. You got this great thing going, and then you just, for some reason, you're the guy that just has to push the car over the edge. It's teetering and you just push it over. And so through a relationship with Jesus and God's mercy and a great psychiatrist, I've learned not to go there. I've learned boundaries that I've been able to move in closer rather than push out more. So thanks for doing what you do. I appreciate it.
Matt, can I just say one thing regarding this blog? I will say that I've been able to experience it firsthand as well, as he's helping me, his father, understand him. And the benefit of that is that we have a relationship now. We're closer now as him being an almost 20-year-old and me being an almost 50-year-old, that I honestly thought that I had basically written off. I had grieved that and that relationship multiple times, hundreds if not thousands of times. And so by the grace of God, we have that relationship.
And it's because, Jeffrey, you write how you feel and how that makes you act, and Dad now can understand.
Yes, I imagine that's a significant portion of it. It all comes down to communication.
All right. I want you to stay in touch with me because I just kind of want to walk with you, especially through your college years. And anytime you want to come on this radio program or anytime you want to use this studio, as you know, this is a visual studio as well as an auditory studio. Anytime you want to come in and you want to make that blog become a video or something like that, you're welcome to my business anytime, my studios anytime. And you don't even have to bring your dad. You can just bring pizza and just come down.
Well, he's the one who knows the way here, though.
Well, we'll get your GPS in your phone to tell you how to get here. Thank you for coming today. You're a wonderful God-made creature, and I'm so glad that I know you. Brian, thank you for being such a great dad. Mom, thanks for being the mom you are. I don't know how. I just know that a mother's love is just something just incredible. And a mother bear, you don't mess with her cubs. And I love you too, Mom. Yeah.
Shout out to my brother Sam as well. Yeah, I know you're listening to this.
Okay. All right, and Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat. Thanks for being here. Chris, thanks for sitting in. Ryan, thanks for producing. Nancy, the ladybug, I love you, baby. I love you. Thanks for being here today. All right, to you, yep, you know what it is. You'll have a whole weekend to think about it. There's somebody in your head that you can't forgive. You still carry a resentment towards. You have it's terrible. There's only one thing you can do with that, and that's give it to Jesus and ask for forgiveness. Because as you're forgiven, you shall be. I'll see you on Monday.